Support for Colorado Today comes from Safeway. From fresh produce to tender cuts of meat, Safeway proudly supports Colorado farms and local small businesses. You support local when you shop at Safeway or in the Safeway app.
Support for Colorado Today comes from Credit Union of Colorado, proudly calling Colorado home for over 90 years. Dedicated to showing up for the community and putting people first. Credit Union of Colorado. Learn more at cuofco.org.
I have a theory that those of us who were younger siblings have one universal experience growing up, that of your older brother or sister trying their darnest to convince you that you were actually switched at birth. Well, for a Southern Colorado man, that might actually be the case. After years of wondering why he was the only blonde in a family of brunettes, the 36-year-old took a DNA test and discovered the people who raised him weren't his biological parents. He and another man born just hours apart in the same North Dakota hospital in 1988 now believe that they were accidentally switched at birth. And they're suing the hospital, which in turn denies their claims, stating that too much time has passed and that the records that could confirm what happened no longer exist. But at the very least, both families have now met their biological sons. And boy, do they have a heck of a story to tell. I'm Arlo Perez Esquivel. Coming up, a new lawsuit claims that the Aspen Acres fire was started by a local utility.
And it claims a witness saw a tree fall on a power line owned by the cooperative.
Then we get a glimpse into the fire's devastation as residents from Beulah return home.
You can let this ruin you, and it would be easy to. I mean, most people wouldn't be able to overcome this, I don't think.
Plus, we all know Colorado is an expensive place to live. A new report suggests the cost could also be having an impact on our broader economy.
One real sticking point for employers is being able to pay wages that employees can comfortably live on here.
And we take you on a stroll inside an adobe Labyrinth. It's Friday, July 17th. Here's the news in Colorado today. Dry conditions, strong winds, and power lines. We all know at this point that those are a bad combination, and it appears that that mixture may have sparked the Aspen Acres fire west of Pueblo, now one of the biggest in state history. A lawsuit filed Wednesday blames the local electrical cooperative for starting the blaze. CPR Sam Brash has been reading over the lawsuit. Sam, what is the basic claim that is being made here?
Yeah, so this lawsuit essentially blames the Aspen Acres fire on the local electrical cooperative. That's the San Isabel Electric Cooperative, which serves about 25,000 homes and businesses around southern Colorado. A personal injury firm in Denver representing 4 Colorado residents filed the suit, and it claims a witness saw a tree fall on a power line owned by the cooperative that caused an explosion, which sparked a fire along a highway west of Pueblo, and that grew into the Aspen Acres fire.
Okay, and what generally happens in this kind of situation? Or more specifically, what happens if the power company's equipment is found to be the cause?
So the most common result is a massive settlement. The most recent example is Xcel Energy, which agreed to pay $640 million to victims of the 2021 Marshall Fire in Boulder County. That's the most destructive wildfire in Colorado history. If that's the case here, if the San Isabel Electric Cooperative is also held liable, it could end up paying a serious settlement as well. But unlike Xcel, this isn't a big investor-owned company. San Isabel is a nonprofit, so it's kind of unclear how it'd be impacted by a major wildfire settlement.
Well, how about for the people who get their power from San Isabel? If a judge blames the power company for the wildfire, do its customers' bills go up?
Yeah, regular power customers, households and businesses do often end up stuck with the cost of major wildfire settlements. Utilities are also working really hard to prevent wildfires. They're investing billions in new technologies to make sure their lines don't spark new blazes. They're also paying higher insurance premiums just because of increased wildfire wildfire risk. So even if your power company isn't directly found liable for sparking a wildfire, wildfires are still playing a role in rising energy bills.
Sam, thank you so much.
God, look at all the burned trees just as far as you can see.
While the Aspen Acres fire continues to burn, evacuation orders for the Beulah area have been lifted, and residents are checking on their properties.
Down to that Signal Mountain, that's the mountain we've seen when we were coming in.
For many, like Doc Pittman, they're returning to a land that is radically changed from how they left it.
Yeah, this used to be, you couldn't see 20 feet. It used to be so thick. That was used to be a green truck. That was a trailer right there.
Wow.
KRCC's Brianna Heaney was there with Pittman earlier this week as he returned to his property. Bree, we just heard Pittman's first impressions, but can you tell me more about what it was like to be there with him?
Yeah, it was surreal. As Pittman and I drove up to his property, we watched the color gradient of the land just get darker and darker. The landscape was covered in these spindly burned trees and the ground covered in ash. There was this otherworldly feel to it. Like, we know wildfires burn in mosaic patterns, but amidst all the destruction, a few houses looked completely untouched. They looked so alien against the backdrop.
But unfortunately, when it came to Pittman's home, it wasn't one of the lucky ones, was it?
No. He knew his home had burned down already from some photos he'd seen online. This was the house where he'd raised 3 kids, and he wasn't able to save anything because he was at a doctor's appointment when the town evacuated, so he couldn't go back to grab anything. So now, to come back to the house in person and see the destruction, to say it was difficult would be an understatement.
This is my heaven, man. You come up here and it smelled fresh, and just the wildlife and the trees, everything was just, this is what I made for my life, and now it's gone.
On his property, Pittman and I spent some time looking around the ruins of his house. It was bizarre, the way some things survived and some things didn't. Guns and glass had melted down, while a standing bathtub and a cooking range were still intact.
Wow, yeah, that does sound bizarre.
Yeah. As Pittman and I walked around, he went through a lot of different emotions. There was sorrow, of course, frustration, but also hopefulness.
You can let this ruin you, and it would be easy to. Most people wouldn't be able to overcome this, I don't think, but I'm excited. I want to experience everything in life. The bad stuff you experience is the stuff you learn from.
That is a remarkable way to look at what is a very devastating situation.
It is, but I don't want to downplay how incredibly difficult this has been for Pittman and others in the community. Monday was also the first time many of these folks were seeing each other after evacuating. Some folks were trying to keep their spirits up. I saw others just sitting in ash with their heads in their arms. Pittman told me this damage would be a massive financial burden for many of the people in Beulah.
Nobody has fire insurance up there. You can't get fire insurance.
No, we didn't.
No, nobody. You can't get it.
Yeah.
Everyone I talked to is now wondering what their community will be like after all this.
Well, addressing that directly, Bree, I know that I'm not the only one that feels devastated for everyone that is displaced and affected by these fires. So to wrap all of this up, for anyone that wants to help, what exactly can they do?
Well, Pittman's daughter set up a GoFundMe that I linked in my web story, and the United Way of Southern Colorado is coordinating a relief fund for people impacted by the Aspen Acres fire. And they're also still in need of item donations, supplies, and volunteers.
And we'll be linking those relief efforts in our show notes. Bree, thank you so much for your reporting.
Thanks, Arlo.
One final note on fundraising. The United Way says it has reached more than $1 million in donations to help survivors of the Aspen Acres fire. That is quite a milestone. But the nonprofit has set a goal of $10 million in donations, saying the need is vast. I think it's fair to say that unless you're about to sell a house or take out an equity loan, none of us are really enjoying the high cost of housing in Colorado these days. And there are signs that expensive housing is starting to hurt our employers as well. CPR's Sarah Mulholland covered a recent report that makes the case that Colorado is losing out competitively to other states because workers just can't afford to move out here. Sarah, you've been reporting that Colorado's job growth has lagged the rest of the country for years now, and that there have been some theories out there about why.
Yeah, if you ask the business groups, they'll often blame the state's increasing regulatory burden. And for lower wage employers, Colorado's high minimum wage is also a struggle. There are other factors too, like slowdowns in some of the sectors that are big in Colorado, like technology and construction. But this new report from a nonprofit think tank says when you look at similar states, one real sticking point for employers is being able to pay wages that employees can comfortably live on here.
Okay, so how bad is it?
Well, a house in Colorado costs 27% more than an average house when you look nationwide. Compare that to 15 years ago when it was just 12% over the national average. So that's pretty dramatic.
Yeah.
The impact of that is that employers have to pay more to attract workers, which weighs on their bottom line, and it means out-of-state workers are less likely to want to take jobs here. Colorado had more people moving out than moving in for the past few years, which again is different from the states that we're economically comparable to, like Arizona, North Carolina, Texas, Utah, and Washington.
So the general takeaway seems to be high rents, high home values, not just tough on individual level, but bad for overall economy long term.
That's definitely the concern.
Sarah, thank you so much. It's been a heavy show today, and a pretty heavy week overall. So we're wrapping up with something meant to soothe the soul.
The first thing that I wanted to notice is Our Lady of Guadalupe, our mother, which is going to be in the front. We built this structure, the Labyrinth, not only in memory of the settlers, but also for her. Okay.
88-year-old Alfonso Abeda oversaw the building of El Santuario de los Pobladores, a huge adobe labyrinth next to Our Lady of Guadalupe Church in Conejos. While the structure is a project of the church, it is also open to the public.
What do you hope that this space can offer to people?
Peace of mind. You come here and you can just walk and then pray if you like, or just visit. And to me, it gives me a good feeling, about my faith. And like I say, you don't have to be Catholic to be able to enjoy it as a prayer sanctuary instead of a labyrinth.
CPR's Haley Sanchez walked the labyrinth with Abeda earlier this summer. Inside the circular structure, head-high walls of tan adobe bricks lead walkers in a winding course to its center.
You guys enjoyed yourselves?
Oh, yes. It was lovely. Thank
Good.
you.
And if you have any questions, I'll be able to answer them too, okay?
Okay, this is amazing.
We built it all of adobes. That's the way the settlers would have done it. And we did all the adobes just outside. I still have my conveyor belt out there.
Wow.
Building something this big with traditional techniques wasn't easy.
When I was having trouble with getting the adobes were cracking and stuff like that, I'm not kidding you, I'd wake up about 3 o'clock in the morning and I could see this light and I'd have an answer. One time it even scared me, and I woke my wife up. He says, why don't you go see such and such person, an old timer? And he told me, he says, Alfonso, no, you have too much clay.
Since the labyrinth opened a few years ago, all sorts of people come to experience it. Abeda says that there are local women, widows, who walk it every week for comfort, and church groups from further away.
We had a group, it was last fall, in fact, an all-domination and all women, okay? And it's a prayer group that they practice at Colorado Springs. They came here and they set up, and they sang and they prayed and they went through. I bet you I spent about 4 hours. And my wife and I, we sat in one of these beds just listening to it. It was very, very inspiring.
He may be nearly 90, but with the Labyrinth finish, Beulah is in the market for another big project. He'd like to start fixing up the original Conejos Church, which was damaged in a fire decades ago. Thank you for listening to today's show. Remember to share us, rate us, and review us if you have a chance. I'm Arlo Perez Esquivel. This is CPR News. I'll see you next week.
Support for Colorado Today comes from Credit Union of Colorado, proudly calling Colorado home for over 90 years, dedicated to showing up for the community and putting people first. Credit Union of Colorado. Learn more at cuofco.org.